On October 10th, 2022, my 14-year-old daughter was physically attacked not once but twice during an incident at Autumn Fest. While trying to stand in between her friend and an adult male that was attempting to assault him, my daughter was grabbed and thrown out of the way by this man before he punched her friend and then proceeded to physically assault other juveniles until an adult bystander stepped in. That was the first attack my daughter endured. This man was not detained, not arrested, and not charged. He was escorted out of the park by an officer. I'm demanding that he is arrested and charged for the numerous assaults he perpetrated against minors, as witnessed by many people in the park that day. Arrest reports corroborate the fact that this bystander told officers he saw this man strike juveniles and stepped in to intervene. The two men proceeded to fight, and after all of that is when the cops arrived. Our children were never a threat to this man. He was the threat. Not arresting this man was the first example of police misconduct in this situation. The only reason that the children who were later arrested were being made to leave the park in the first place after the attacks perpetrated on them by this man was that they were supposedly being disorderly when he was not arrested. They had just been victimized, and the officers who should have been there to protect them instead victimized them again. The girls arrested had no involvement in any alleged incident having to do with sneakers earlier in the day. The fact remains that there was no police report made by this man about any such alleged incident. He went to the park to the ride that the juveniles he was looking for were on and decided to try to take matters into his own hands. His actions alone instigated this entire ordeal, and he needs to be held accountable. The second attack on my daughter came at the hands of Officer Dora and multiple other members of the Woonsocket Police Department during these unnecessary arrests. I will not reiterate the details of my child's arrest, as I believe the videos speak for themselves, but I will address the fact that before any arrest, Officer Dora was behind my daughter, pushing her out of the park while I was on FaceTime with her, and she was trying to explain the situation. He proceeded to mock her and make peace signs at me and stick his tongue out at me. Officers claim that my daughter and the others were refusing to leave the park. However, their arrests happened near the exit, not at the spot of the initial incident. There is video showing the children walking towards the exit of the park, and there was no disorderly behavior until after the first young lady was being arrested and held down by 4 officers. The already traumatized children, of course, became frightened and began to yell out for their friend to stop being mistreated. As they protested the police brutality they were witnessing, my daughter and then another minor and then an adult bystander were all arrested. During her arrest, while she was being held down over a wall by 3 officers, one of whom was gripping her by her neck, my daughter was never Mirandized as is required by law. After seeing all of the videos and speaking to all the other victims, it has come to our attention that none of the victims were read their rights during their arrests. I arrived at the scene minutes after the arrest happened, and Officer Dora was rude and unhelpful. When I asked what my child did to be arrested, he said she was running her mouth and would not leave the park. He did not reference any incidents precipitating the arrest. He did not tell me that an adult had put his hands on my child and other children, but I already knew this from my conversation with my daughter. I accused him of arresting my daughter solely for not liking her attitude and not liking the fact that she was calling out the responding officer's misconduct. When I questioned him about why the man was not arrested, I was not given an answer. I was directed to the police station. At the station, my daughter was mocked and called special in the derogatory sense by Officer Matt Richardson after it had been revealed to officers that my daughter suffers from mental health issues. He also was the officer in charge, as he stated to me, and he refused to let me see my child when I arrived, and he allowed his officers to question and threaten her after I told him that I did not want them to speak to her without me present. I reiterated to him personally that she suffers from mental health issues and assured him that I would be able to get her to cooperate with the booking process if they let me see her, but I was refused again. The officers proceeded to tell her that if she didn't tell them who she knew that was a drug dealer or criminal, they would hold her for 6 hours and then tell all of her friends that she's a snitch. I took that as a threat to my child. Them spreading false information of that nature about her to her peers could potentially endanger her safety. Also, when I arrived at the station, I had asked again why the man had not been assaulted, and I was not given any answer. I was not allowed to file a report or even show videos of him putting his hands on my child. I know that at least one other minor of another juvenile that was assaulted by this man was also not allowed to file a police report. In the days following the incident, I was refused access to my daughter's arrest report. When I did receive the police report and witness statements, only after the ACLU requested that Chief Oates release them to us, the report and witness statements contain many discrepancies. Based on all of this aforementioned information, I'm asking the Attorney General's office to investigate any and every officer that was involved in this incident on October 10th. Thank you.